Imagine standing in the middle of a vast desert, surrounded by endless silence, when suddenly, above you, the night sky erupts with millions of glittering stars. Each point of light is a window into a distant past, some shining from millions, even billions of years ago. Now imagine being told that a book revealed more than 14 centuries ago, to a man who had never studied astronomy, held descriptions of these very cosmic realities, truths that modern science would only uncover after the invention of telescopes, satellites, and quantum equations. Doesn't that make you wonder, how could such knowledge exist back then? How could it be so precise, so poetic, and yet so scientifically profound? This is where the story of the Quran's cosmic secrets begins, a journey that bridges faith and science, revelation and discovery, the known and the unimaginable. For thousands of years, humanity has wrestled with the same questions. Where did we come from? What lies beyond the stars? Is our existence accidental or intentional? Ancient civilizations carved their curiosity into stone. Egyptians aligned pyramids to Orion's belt. Mayans mapped eclipses. Greeks speculated about celestial spheres. Yet their knowledge, as vast as it seemed, was built on guesswork and myth. Then came the Quran, revealed in the 7th century in the heart of Arabia, not a manual of astronomy, but verses so layered with meaning that modern scientists are stunned by their accuracy. The people hearing these words for the first time had no observatories, no scientific instruments, no language for galaxies or cosmic expansion, and yet, the descriptions within this text align uncannily with the realities we confirm today. Picture this, a desert people gazing at the same night sky you see today, unpolluted by city lights, the Milky Way stretching across the heavens in a river of silver. For them, the stars were mysteries, guiding travelers and sparking stories. But when they heard verses describing not just stars and planets, but the very origin of the universe, that the heavens and the earth were once joined and then parted, it was unlike anything they had ever imagined. At the time, this concept seemed impossible. Yet centuries later, scientists using advanced telescopes and physics would confirm exactly this. The universe began as a singularity, a single, unified point, and from it exploded everything we see today. The Quran doesn't just mention cosmic facts casually, it frames them as invitations. It urges listeners to reflect, to ponder, to look at the stars and mountains and oceans and ask, who placed these here? Who set them in perfect order? And the deeper science digs, the more intricate that order becomes. Astronomers discover galaxies dancing in harmony. Physicists marvel at constants so finely tuned that even the smallest variation would make life impossible. These findings spark awe in labs and observatories, yet the Quran called attention to them long before they were measurable. Consider this for a moment, a book revealed in an age where people believed the earth was flat and the stars were just scattered lights, somehow contained verses about the expansion of the universe, about protective layers in the atmosphere, about the very building blocks of life being water. How does that happen? This is why these verses continue to captivate not only believers, but also skeptics and scientists who cannot help but acknowledge their accuracy. And this is only the beginning, because the deeper we go, the more startling the connections become. It's worth asking, why would a sacred text speak about the stars, about cosmic pathways, about the creation of the heavens? Why place so much emphasis on the universe when it could have focused solely on rituals or laws? Perhaps the answer lies in the way these verses awaken something universal within us, that deep, ancient longing to know where we come from and where we are headed. This longing is as relevant today as it was then, and it's why these secrets still resonate, still inspire, and still challenge everything we think we know about existence itself. Now imagine living in the 7th century and hearing these words for the first time. There are no scientific journals, no satellites orbiting Earth, no Hubble Space Telescope capturing distant galaxies. Yet here is a revelation speaking about creation, about orbits, about expanding skies. The first listeners may not have grasped the depth of these verses, but they were seeds that would only reveal their full meaning centuries later, as humanity learned to read the language of the stars. This brings us to an astonishing realization: the Quran was never at odds with science. Instead, it quietly anticipated discoveries that would unfold far into the future, waiting for humanity to catch up. It challenges us even now, in an era of advanced physics and space exploration, to keep looking, to keep asking, to never stop reflecting. And as we dive deeper into its verses, the line between the sacred and the scientific blurs, revealing truths that are timeless, transcendent, and deeply human. In the early 20th century, scientists began to realize something astonishing: the universe wasn't static. For centuries, humanity assumed the stars were fixed in place, eternal and unmoving, spread across a silent dome above our heads. Then Edwin Hubble peered through his telescope and discovered something shocking. Distant galaxies were racing away from us in all directions. Space itself was stretching, expanding, like a balloon being inflated. This discovery shattered old beliefs and gave birth to modern cosmology. Yet over 1,000 years earlier, the Quran spoke of this very phenomenon with striking clarity. In Surah Ad-Dariyat, verse 47, the Quran says, "And we constructed the heaven with strength, and indeed, we are its expander." The choice of words here is profound: not just that the heavens were made vast, but that they are actively expanding. Think about that for a moment. In the 7th century, no one could even conceive of the universe as something dynamic, constantly stretching outward. The common belief was that the sky was a solid canopy, fixed and unchanging. And yet this verse, revealed in a time without telescopes or physics, captures the very essence of what Hubble and countless astrophysicists would later confirm. This isn't just poetic language. It describes a reality we can measure today. Galaxies are moving away from one another at speeds unimaginable, some at hundreds of thousands of kilometers per second. Light from these galaxies stretches, creating what scientists call redshift, concrete evidence of cosmic expansion. Every single observation since has only confirmed what this ancient verse declared: the universe is not static, it is alive, it is growing. The implications of this discovery are staggering. If the universe is expanding now, it means that at some point in the past, everything must have been closer together, unimaginably close, compressed into a single, unified point. And from that realization emerged the theory that changed science forever: the Big Bang. The Quran contains another verse that resonates deeply with this modern understanding. In Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 30, it says, "Do not those who disbelieve see that the heavens and the earth were a joined entity, and we separated them?" Picture those words for a moment: heavens and earth joined together, then split apart. This is not a vague metaphor. It is an eerily accurate description of what cosmologists now believe: that all matter, energy, space, and even time itself began as one singularity, before erupting outward in a massive cosmic event. What's even more remarkable is the phrasing, "Do not those who disbelieve see." It's almost as if this verse anticipated that the evidence for this separation would one day become visible, observable. Today, with powerful telescopes, we look back into deep space and literally witness light from billions of years ago, catching glimpses of the early universe still glowing from that primordial explosion. The cosmic microwave background radiation, discovered in 1965, is often called the echo of the Big Bang, a faint whisper from creation itself, still resonating across the universe. Pause for a moment and consider this. How could a text from the 7th century describe two distinct yet interconnected truths, the ongoing expansion of the cosmos and the singular origin point from which it began, without access to modern instruments or theories? Even the greatest scientific minds of antiquity believed the universe was eternal and unchanging. The very idea of a beginning was controversial in science up until the 20th century. And yet the Quran spoke of it plainly, centuries earlier, in words so concise yet so powerful that they continue to challenge our assumptions today. For many, these verses serve as a bridge between faith and reason. They remind us that knowledge isn't confined to laboratories or scriptures alone, but exists in harmony when we dare to connect the two. They invite us to see the universe not just as an accidental product of chaos, but as a sign, a carefully crafted masterpiece whose secrets unfold slowly as human curiosity evolves. And with every new discovery, whether it's the detection of gravitational waves or the imaging of black holes, the echo of those ancient words becomes louder. We are its expander. We separated them. In the earliest moments of the universe's birth, long before stars lit the darkness, before planets formed or galaxies swirled into being, everything was nothing more than a formless mass of gas and energy. Modern astronomers call this primordial state a nebula, an immense cloud of cosmic smoke from which the first stars were born. What's remarkable is that this very image, the heavens emerging from smoke, appears vividly in the Quran, revealed more than 14 centuries ago. In Surah Fussilat, verse 11, it says, "Then he directed himself to the heaven when it was smoke, and said to it and to the earth, 'Come into being,' willingly or unwillingly. They said, 'We come willingly.'" These words do not describe stars as polished jewels already in place, but as raw elements forming from a smoky substance. When we look through the most powerful telescopes today, such as the Hubble or the James Webb, we see these same towering columns of gas and dust, like the famous pillars of creation in the Eagle Nebula, giving birth to stars in breathtaking displays of light and shadow. The Quran's description matches this modern imagery in a way that is hard to dismiss as coincidence. Scientists now understand that stars and planets are forged in the furnaces of these nebulae, where gravity pulls hydrogen and helium into dense cores until nuclear fusion ignites, birthing new suns. Billions of years later, the heavier elements forged in those stars, carbon, oxygen, iron, become the building blocks of life itself. In essence, we are made of stardust. Yet when the Quran described the heavens as smoke, it captured this process in a single word, long before humanity understood stellar formation. It is a striking reminder that what seems poetic at first glance can, centuries later, be revealed as profoundly literal. This isn't the only place where the Quran speaks of the universe in motion either. Consider how the same text describes the sun, the moon, and even night and day as moving along appointed courses. In Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 33, it declares, "And it is He who created the night and the day and the sun and the moon." All heavenly bodies are swimming along in an orbit. This is an extraordinary statement when placed in historical context. In the 7th century, many believed the earth was static and that the heavens revolved around it. The concept of celestial orbits, that the sun itself moves, that planets glide through space on fixed paths, was centuries away from being proven. Yet the Quran uses a word akin to swimming, evoking smooth, continuous motion through a vast ocean of space. Today, we know that this is precisely the case. Every planet in our solar system follows a predictable orbit around the sun, and even the sun itself races through the Milky Way at over 800 kilometers per hour, dragging the entire solar system with it in a galactic journey lasting 225 million years per cycle. This harmony of movement is no accident. If any orbit shifted slightly, if gravitational balances wavered even a fraction, chaos would follow, planets would crash into each other, stars would drift apart, and life as we know it would cease to exist. Instead, we live in a cosmic ballet where everything holds its place with perfect precision. The Quran's description of heavenly bodies swimming together in balance reads like a poetic summary of orbital mechanics, centuries before Isaac Newton would formulate the laws of motion, or Johannes Kepler would chart planetary paths. It's as if the text invites us to lift our gaze and see not chaos but order, not randomness but harmony. Reflect on how extraordinary it is for an ancient revelation to speak with such accuracy about realities we only confirmed through centuries of observation and calculation. For believers, this harmony between scripture and science is awe-inspiring, a sign of divine knowledge woven into creation itself. For skeptics, it poses a challenging question. How could a text from a pre-scientific era describe phenomena that required the most advanced tools of modern astronomy to verify? Whether one approaches it through faith or reason, the result is the same: a profound sense of wonder at the universe we inhabit and at the words that seem to know its secrets long before we did. High above us, stretching far beyond what the naked eye can see, lies an invisible shield that protects every living thing on Earth. Most of us go about our daily lives without ever thinking about it, never realizing that if this shield were stripped away for even a moment, life as we know it would end in an instant. The Quran, revealed centuries before the concept of atmospheric science even existed, speaks of this protective canopy in words that are both poetic and eerily precise. In Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 32, it says, "And we made the sky a protected ceiling, but they turn away from its signs." Imagine hearing this in the 7th century at a time when the sky was thought to be merely an empty void, a ceiling of blue with no substance, no function beyond beauty. Yet modern science now tells us this ceiling is, in fact, a complex, multi-layered barrier performing countless life-preserving tasks every second. The Earth's atmosphere shields us from deadly cosmic radiation streaming from the sun and from distant galaxies. Without it, solar wind streams of charged particles traveling at nearly 1,000,000 miles per hour would strip our planet bare, boiling oceans and burning away everything alive. This same shield prevents countless meteors from reaching the surface, incinerating them before they can do harm. Every day, over 100 tons of space debris enter Earth's atmosphere. Almost all of it burns up harmlessly, leaving behind nothing more than fleeting streaks of light in the night sky, what we call shooting stars. We marvel at their beauty without realizing they are fiery reminders of the protection constantly above our heads. The ozone layer within this atmosphere filters out ultraviolet radiation, a lethal energy that would blind us and sterilize the planet if it reached the ground unchecked. The magnetosphere, another invisible force field created by Earth's molten core, deflects radiation so intense that astronauts beyond it must wear heavy shielding to survive. Together, these unseen layers form a perfect defense system, one so delicately balanced that even a small change would render Earth uninhabitable. It is astonishing, then, that the Quran's words, "a protected ceiling," capture this truth so directly. It doesn't simply call the sky beautiful or high. It describes it as actively protective, performing a role crucial to life. The phrasing even implies intentionality, as if this shield was not random, but placed with purpose. Modern scientists, after decades of study, marvel at how Earth alone among countless planets seems so finely tuned for life. The Quran invites us to marvel too, not just at the shield itself, but at the one who placed it there. Beyond this protective ceiling lies yet another mystery described repeatedly in the Quran: the 7 heavens, or 7 layers, stacked one upon another. At first glance, this might sound metaphorical, but science now reveals that our atmosphere is indeed layered: troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere. And beyond that, the layers of space itself. Each performs a distinct function. The troposphere, closest to Earth, contains the air we breathe and the weather we experience. The stratosphere holds the ozone layer, filtering harmful radiation. The mesosphere burns up meteors. The thermosphere absorbs intense solar radiation and hosts the auroras, those dazzling curtains of light at the poles. The exosphere gradually thins into outer space, a boundary between Earth and the infinite. Above even this, scientists now speak of further cosmic layers, regions of plasma, radiation belts, and gravitational fields shaping our solar system. What's remarkable is how the Quran's repeated mention of 7 heavens mirrors this multi-layered reality. In ancient times, people imagined a simple flat earth beneath a single dome of sky. Yet the Quran consistently describes a structured cosmos, layers upon layers, each with purpose, each precisely placed. These verses do not conflict with modern understanding. Rather, they seem to anticipate it, describing the heavens not as chaotic but ordered, balanced, and intentional. As our knowledge of space deepens, we find more layers still, vast filaments of galaxies, cosmic webs stretching billions of light years, gravitational waves rippling through space-time. The universe is layered far beyond our atmosphere, and every new discovery makes the Quran's imagery even more compelling. It's worth reflecting on the profound humility these realizations bring. We are small, fragile beings walking under an unseen shield, living inside one thin layer of a vast cosmic architecture we barely comprehend. And yet this shield holds, this balance endures, this order persists, allowing life to thrive against impossible odds. The Quran's call to turn away not from these signs resonates more today than ever, because modern science, rather than diminishing these verses, magnifies them. Each new revelation about the atmosphere, each new understanding of cosmic structure, only deepens the wonder first sparked by those simple yet powerful words, a protected ceiling and 7 heavens. Mountains, silent giants that have watched over Earth for millions of years. To the casual observer, they are merely towering masses of rock, breathtaking yet static, unmoving monuments of nature's power. But beneath their rugged peaks lies a secret that only modern geology has uncovered. Mountains are not just scenic backdrops, they are crucial stabilizers for the very ground we walk on. Without them, the Earth's crust would be in constant turmoil, tectonic plates grinding against each other without restraint, unleashing chaos on a scale we can hardly imagine. Earthquakes would tear through continents relentlessly, and the delicate balance that allows life to flourish would collapse. It is this hidden function of mountains, this role as pegs or stakes anchoring the crust, that scientists now recognize. And astonishingly, it is precisely how the Quran described them more than 14 centuries ago. In Surah An-Naba, verses 6 and 7, the Quran asks, "Have we not made the earth a resting place, and the mountains as pegs?" The imagery is striking: mountains compared to stakes driven deep into the ground. Modern geological studies confirm that mountains do not merely rise above the surface, they extend downward like roots, anchoring tectonic plates. These roots can be even deeper than the visible peaks themselves, locking vast sections of Earth's crust into place. The science behind this is fascinating. The Earth's lithosphere, the rigid outer shell, floats on a semi-fluid layer beneath. Without the weight and distribution of mountains, this shell would shift violently, making stable life nearly impossible. The Quran's description captures this stabilizing effect in a way so precise that many geologists who study plate tectonics find the parallel difficult to ignore. Think about the time in which these verses were revealed. 7th century Arabia had no concept of tectonic plates, no understanding of Earth's internal layers, no knowledge of the immense roots hidden beneath mountain ranges. People saw mountains only for their height and majesty, not their unseen depth or stabilizing function. Yet the Quran spoke of them as pegs, a term perfectly suited to describe what modern science now shows us. Even more remarkable is how this concept interconnects with the broader harmony of Earth's design. Mountains not only anchor but also influence weather, capturing moisture, channeling rivers, and creating fertile valleys where life thrives. Without mountains, ecosystems would collapse, climates would shift, and the planet would be unrecognizable. The Quran, in a single line, draws our attention to their profound role, one we have only begun to fully appreciate in recent centuries. But mountains are only part of the story. The Quran also points to another fundamental truth about life itself, a truth confirmed by every branch of biology, from microbiology to planetary science. Every living thing is made from water. In Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 30, the Quran states, "And we made from water every living thing. Will they not then believe?" This statement is extraordinary in its simplicity and accuracy. 14 centuries ago, no one knew that the very cells composing every organism, from the tiniest bacteria to the largest whales, are mostly water. No one knew that life originated in the primordial oceans, nurtured in liquid environments before venturing onto land. And yet this verse describes precisely that, water as the essence and origin of life. Today, science confirms that around 60–70% of the human body is water, that cells cannot survive without it, and that all biochemical processes essential for life, from transporting nutrients to generating energy, occur in watery solutions. Even beyond Earth, when astronomers search for life on distant planets, the first question they ask is, does it have water? This universal criterion for life echoes the Quran's timeless declaration. The verse doesn't just state a fact, it invites reflection. Will they not believe? It's a challenge, a call to recognize that this fundamental truth about life's dependence on water points to a purposeful design rather than random chance. Consider how this connects to the origin of life itself. Scientific theories suggest that life began in Earth's ancient oceans, in a delicate balance of minerals and energy that allowed simple molecules to form and eventually organize into living cells. The Quran statement, revealed long before microscopes or evolutionary biology, harmonizes with this understanding. Life's journey begins with water. The same is true across ecosystems today. Deserts bloom when rain arrives. Seeds remain dormant until moisture awakens them, and no creature can survive long without access to this vital substance. It is no wonder that nearly every search for extraterrestrial life begins not by looking for oxygen or vegetation, but for traces of water. When these two truths are placed side by side, mountains anchoring the earth and water giving rise to life, the picture that emerges is breathtaking. One stabilizes the ground beneath our feet. The other flows through every living being, sustaining existence itself. Both are presented in the Quran not as random features of nature, but as signs, invitations to see the interconnected design of the world around us. Mountains and water, permanence and fluidity, stability and vitality, all working in harmony so life can thrive. And as science continues to explore deeper layers of the earth and the cosmos, it repeatedly uncovers what these verses quietly revealed long ago. The universe is not chaotic, it is balanced, deliberate, and full of meaning for those willing to reflect. Far beneath the surface of the oceans lies a world almost entirely unknown to humankind for most of history, a realm so hostile and alien that even modern explorers with advanced technology struggle to reach it. The darkness there is absolute, so profound that no ray of sunlight penetrates. Temperatures plummet near freezing, pressures rise to crushing extremes, and yet in this silent abyss, strange forms of life cling to existence in ways that seem almost miraculous. Today, deep-sea submersibles and robotic probes have revealed this environment to us: vast underwater mountains, canyons deeper than the Grand Canyon, and ecosystems powered not by sunlight but by chemical energy. But the Quran, revealed 14 centuries ago, described the reality of these dark, layered waters in words that remain astonishing. In Surah An-Nur, verse 40, it says, "Or their deeds are like darknesses in a vast deep sea, covered by waves, upon which are waves, over which are clouds, layers of darkness, one above another. When one puts out his hand, he can hardly see it, and he to whom Allah has not granted light, for him there is no light." This verse paints a picture of the ocean's depth that modern science has only recently confirmed, a place where multiple layers of darkness exist, where waves form not just on the surface but deep beneath, invisible to those above. For centuries, people believed the sea was uniform, its mysteries limited to the surface. No one imagined internal waves far below, hidden currents that move silently in the deep. Yet oceanographers now know that beneath the ocean's surface lie thermocline layers where water of different temperatures meets, creating waves so vast and powerful they dwarf anything seen above. These underwater waves, unseen and unheard by ancient sailors, are vividly evoked in this verse. Waves, upon which are waves, and above it all, clouds cast yet another layer of darkness, completing the picture of lightless depths, where even the human hand becomes invisible. The scientific accuracy of this description is striking, but the verse does more than describe physical reality. It uses this imagery to stir reflection. The idea of being lost in darkness upon darkness, unable to see one's hand, resonates on both a physical and spiritual level. It mirrors not only the deep sea, but the inner states of a person disconnected from guidance, wandering through layers of confusion without light. Yet even in this metaphor, the factual details are astonishing. Multiple layers, unseen waves, impenetrable darkness. These elements align so perfectly with what modern oceanography has uncovered that they continue to inspire wonder in both believers and scientists alike. And just as the Quran draws our attention downward to the hidden depths of the sea, it also directs our gaze upward to the stars, revealing another mystery, one that connects the very elements within our bodies to the hearts of distant suns. In Surah Al-Hadid, verse 25, the Quran declares, "And we sent down iron, in which is mighty power and benefits for mankind." At first glance, this statement might seem simple. Iron is vital for tools, weapons, and infrastructure. But modern astrophysics reveals a deeper truth. Iron is not native to Earth. It did not form here. Instead, it was forged in the fiery cores of massive stars and hurled across space in colossal explosions known as supernovae. Billions of years ago, this stellar debris rained down upon the early Earth, seeding it with iron, the very iron that now courses through our blood and builds the tools of our civilizations. Think about that for a moment. The element that carries oxygen through your veins, that strengthens your bones and muscles, that builds skyscrapers and bridges. It came from the death of distant stars. We are, quite literally, made of stardust. When the Quran says iron was sent down, it is not merely poetic. It reflects a cosmic truth uncovered only in the last century. Scientists have confirmed that the temperatures required to form iron are far higher than anything the Earth could have ever produced. Only within the hearts of massive stars, stars many times the size of our sun, can such nuclear fusion occur. When these stars die, they explode, scattering iron across the galaxy, where it eventually becomes part of planets and, ultimately, of us. The phrase "mighty power and benefits for mankind" is equally profound. Iron is not just strong, it is foundational to human progress. From the earliest tools and weapons to modern skyscrapers, cars, and even the hemoglobin in our blood, iron sustains both our survival and our civilizations. It shapes our world and our very existence. Yet few stop to consider its origin, that every iron atom on Earth is a relic of ancient stellar cataclysms, a silent testimony to a universe forged in fire. Taken together, these two revelations, the darkness of the deep ocean and the descent of iron from the stars, expand our perspective in opposite directions. One plunges us into the unlit abysses of our own planet, humbling us with how little we know of the world beneath our feet. The other lifts our gaze outward and upward, connecting our very bodies to cosmic events billions of years old. And both invite us to reflect on the same question: how could such knowledge appear in a 7th century text, revealed to a people with no means of exploring either the ocean's depths or the distant stars? The Quran doesn't just describe these realities, it calls them signs, reminders of a larger order at work in creation, urging us to see beyond the surface and recognize the profound harmony that binds the universe together. Across the vast expanse of the sky, where stars glitter like distant lanterns and galaxies stretch farther than our imagination can grasp, there exists an unseen order, intricate highways of motion that guide planets, stars, and even light itself. We often look up and think of space as endless and chaotic, yet modern astrophysics has uncovered something extraordinary. The universe is threaded with precise pathways, gravitational corridors that dictate the movements of celestial bodies with unimaginable accuracy. This discovery is not new to science alone. Astonishingly, the Quran spoke of these paths in the heavens more than 14 centuries ago. In Surah Az-Zariyat, verse 7, it swears an oath by the sky full of pathways. These words are brief, yet they capture a reality we are only now beginning to comprehend. The cosmos is not random. It is mapped, structured, and profoundly ordered. Think about what these pathways truly represent. Every planet orbits its star in a perfectly calculated ellipse. Every moon circles its planet with unwavering loyalty. And even our sun itself speeds around the center of the Milky Way on a galactic orbit so vast it takes over 200 million years to complete a single lap. Beyond this, scientists have discovered gravitational lanes, invisible highways carved by the pull of planets and stars, which spacecraft use to travel more efficiently through space. These space highways, as NASA calls them, allow probes to slingshot between celestial bodies using minimal energy, following invisible curves shaped by the mathematics of gravity. It is precisely this concept of ordered motion, cosmic roots hidden in the fabric of the universe, that resonates with the Quran's description of a sky full of pathways. 14 centuries ago, humanity had no way of seeing this harmony, no understanding of orbital mechanics or gravitational fields, yet the verse captures it with haunting accuracy. But the notion of pathways extends even deeper. Modern cosmology now understands that the very structure of the universe resembles a cosmic web, immense filaments of dark matter and galaxies stretching for billions of light years. Interconnected like threads in a tapestry, these filaments form colossal routes along which galaxies themselves cluster and migrate. When telescopes peer deep into space, they reveal not a random scattering of stars, but a grand design, a network of roots binding the universe together. The Quran's oath by these pathways invites us to reflect on this very order, to see the heavens not as chaos but as a testament to precision and purpose. It is as if the verse is challenging us: look closer, trace the roots, and realize how finely tuned this cosmos truly is. From these invisible highways in space, the Quran draws our attention to another breathtaking phenomenon here on Earth, a mystery hidden not in the skies above, but in the oceans below. Where two bodies of water meet, such as the Atlantic and the Mediterranean, or the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, science has observed something remarkable. Though they touch, their waters do not immediately mix. There is a barrier, an invisible frontier where differences in temperature, salinity, and density create a boundary that maintains each sea's unique properties. To the naked eye, this barrier is undetectable, yet scientists have measured it with precision, observing where one sea ends and the other begins, side by side yet distinct. The Quran, in Surah Ar-Rahman, verses 19 and 20, describes this wonder with poetic clarity. He released the two seas, meeting side by side. Between them is a barrier they do not transgress. Consider how astonishing this description is in its historical context. In the 7th century, people saw seas and rivers merging freely, assuming their waters mixed instantly and completely. The idea of an unseen boundary, one that allows two bodies of water to meet but prevents them from overpowering each other, was unimaginable. And yet modern oceanography confirms exactly this. Haloclines and thermoclines act as invisible barriers, preserving the identity of each sea even where they converge. In places like the Strait of Gibraltar, satellite imagery and direct sampling reveal stark differences in color and composition where the Atlantic Ocean meets the Mediterranean Sea. These boundaries are not walls but gradients, delicate balances maintained by the forces of physics, barriers as subtle as they are profound. This phenomenon speaks to a larger truth about Earth's design: the meeting of seas, the flow of rivers into oceans, the delicate separation of fresh and salt water. All of these sustain ecosystems vital to life. Estuaries, where these boundaries form, are nurseries for countless species, fertile grounds that feed both marine and terrestrial life. The Quran's depiction draws our focus to these natural wonders not merely as curiosities but as signs, precise systems built into the planet's fabric, operating with wisdom we are only beginning to unravel. And perhaps most remarkable of all is the way these verses pair with the earlier mention of cosmic pathways. One directs our gaze upward to the ordered highways of the stars, the other pulls us downward to the hidden frontiers of the seas. Together, they reveal a universe both above and below, governed by balance, separated yet connected, intricate yet harmonious. They remind us that whether we look to the furthest galaxy or the meeting point of two oceans, we encounter the same message. Nothing is accidental, and everything bears the signature of a deeper design. The sun, that blazing sphere at the center of our solar system, has been the subject of awe and reverence for as long as humanity has existed. Every sunrise has inspired poets, and every sunset has stirred the deepest emotions in our hearts. Yet beyond its beauty lies a staggering truth: the sun is not fixed, not static, but in constant motion, hurtling through the galaxy at nearly 500,000 miles per hour. This reality, confirmed only in recent centuries by modern astronomy, was already hinted at in the Quran over 1400 years ago. In Surah Yasin, verse 38, it states, "And the sun runs on to its fixed resting place. That is the determination of the mighty, the knowing." This phrase, simple and elegant, contains layers of meaning that science continues to uncover even today. Most people, even now, picture the solar system as stationary, with planets orbiting a sun that remains motionless. But the truth is far more dynamic. The sun itself is on a colossal journey around the Milky Way's galactic center, dragging every planet, including Earth, along in its gravitational grip. One orbit takes roughly 225 million years to complete, a timescale so vast it's almost beyond comprehension. When the Quran describes the sun running on its course, it perfectly matches this scientific reality. It does not merely shine, it moves with purpose, following a path set long before humans ever walked the earth. And what of its resting place? Modern astrophysics suggests a fascinating parallel: stars like our sun eventually exhaust their fuel and enter a final stage of rest, collapsing into white dwarfs or fading into darkness. The Quran's wording, therefore, speaks not just of motion but of destiny, hinting at the sun's eventual fate in the cosmic order. This movement of the sun is not chaotic, it is part of a greater harmony. As the sun journeys through the galaxy, its gravitational pull orchestrates the dance of planets, moons, and comets in perfect synchrony. Earth seasons, day and night cycles, and even the tides are all governed by this delicate interplay. The Quran's reference to this decree of the mighty, the knowing, invites reflection. Such precision, such balance, cannot be the result of randomness. It is a system so finely tuned that even a slight deviation would render life impossible, an intricate clockwork whose designer understood every gear and spring. And as the sun traces its cosmic path, another heavenly body mirrors its movement in a quieter, more intimate way: the moon. Unlike the sun's fiery brilliance, the moon offers a soft, reflective glow. Its phase is a silent calendar for humanity since the dawn of civilization. Farmers planted by it, sailors navigated by it, and entire cultures structured their months around its cycles. The Quran, in Surah Yasin, verse 39, draws our attention to these phases with exquisite imagery. And we have determined phases for the moon until it returns like the old date stalk. This comparison, likening the crescent moon to the thin, curved remnant of a palm frond, is both poetic and precise. Anyone who has seen a sliver of the waning moon knows how perfectly this metaphor fits. The phases of the moon, new, crescent, quarter, full, are caused by the interplay of light and shadow as it orbits Earth. In a span of about 29 days, the moon completes its cycle, a pattern so consistent that even before advanced timekeeping, civilizations relied on it to mark time. The Quran's description captures this constancy, yet it also highlights the moon's transformation, reminding us that change is built into creation itself. No phase lasts forever. Every fullness wanes, every darkness gives way to light. In this rhythm lies a profound lesson. Life itself moves in cycles, growth and decline, beginnings and endings, all woven into the fabric of the cosmos. Modern science adds another layer to this wonder. The moon is not just a passive light in the sky. It plays an active role in sustaining life on Earth. Its gravitational pull stabilizes our planet's tilt, regulating the seasons. It drives the tides, replenishing coastal ecosystems and nurturing marine life. Without the moon, Earth's climate would swing wildly, tides would vanish, and the delicate balance that allows life to thrive would collapse. The Quran's focus on the moon's phases, then, is more than a poetic observation. It is a subtle reminder of its central role in the story of life. There is also a deeper resonance in the pairing of these two verses, the sun racing toward its appointed end, the moon cycling endlessly through phases. One embodies constancy on a galactic scale, the other marks time in the rhythm of our months. Together, they form the twin lights of our sky, distinct yet intertwined, each pointing to the same reality, an ordered universe sustained by a force greater than itself. The sun's path through the galaxy and the moon's phases around Earth are separated by scale but united in purpose, both inviting us to see beyond mere astronomy to the one who set them in motion. When we step back and take in this grand design, the blazing star at the center of our days, the silver crescent that softens our nights, it becomes clear why the Quran constantly calls them signs. They are not random ornaments in the sky. They are reminders, embedded in the very cycles of nature, urging us to reflect. And as we uncover more about their movements with each new telescope and mission, the ancient words take on new depth, proving once again that knowledge and revelation are not enemies but companions, each illuminating the other across the vast canvas of the universe. Beyond the limits of human perception lies a realm of existence we cannot see, touch, or measure, yet it shapes the very reality we inhabit. Modern physics has only begun to scratch the surface of this unseen domain, revealing a world far stranger than anything our ancestors could have imagined. At the subatomic level, particles flicker in and out of existence, fields permeate space with invisible energy, and entire dimensions may exist beyond the three we know. The Quran repeatedly draws attention to this hidden reality, calling it al-Ghaib, the unseen, and describing it as a truth known only to the Creator. In verse after verse, it reminds us that what we perceive is not all there is, that behind the veil of the visible lies an intricately ordered world awaiting discovery. 14 centuries ago, such a concept was radical. Today, with quantum mechanics and dark matter theories reshaping our understanding of the cosmos, it feels eerily prophetic. Consider quantum physics, a field that challenges every notion of certainty we once held. Electrons behave like waves and particles at the same time. Their positions cannot be pinned down until observed, as if reality itself hesitates, waiting for awareness to collapse possibility into fact. Physicists speak of parallel universes, hidden dimensions, and quantum entanglement phenomena that defy common sense and yet are mathematically undeniable. The Quran's emphasis on the unseen does not specify these exact phenomena, but it resonates with them profoundly. It declares that there are layers to existence beyond what human eyes can perceive, hinting that creation is far richer than the surface reality we take for granted. The more science peels back the curtain, the more we realize how much lies beyond our grasp. Dark matter and dark energy add another layer to this mystery. Scientists estimate that nearly 95% of the universe is composed of these unseen substances, matter and energy we cannot detect directly, yet whose gravitational pull shapes galaxies and drives cosmic expansion. We are surrounded by the unseen. We are embedded in it. The Quran's frequent calls to acknowledge realities beyond our perception, realities that influence and sustain what we can see, harmonize uncannily with these modern findings. It is as if the text has been whispering for centuries. Do not assume that the visible is all there is. The most profound truths are often hidden from sight. From these glimpses into the unseen, the Quran shifts our gaze to the farthest horizon of time, the universe's ultimate destiny. Scientists today debate what will become of the cosmos. Will it expand forever into cold emptiness, collapse back into itself in a fiery big crunch, or tear apart in a catastrophic big rip as space itself unravels? The Quran offers its own striking imagery of cosmic finale. In Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 104, it says, "The day when we will fold the heaven like the folding of a scroll for books. As we began the first creation, we will repeat it. That is a promise binding upon us. Indeed, we will do it." This description is astonishing when placed beside modern cosmological theories. The image of the heavens folding up evokes a reversal of expansion, a contraction of space itself. Cosmologists who study the Big Crunch describe a scenario eerily similar: galaxies drawn back together, stars colliding, space-time itself collapsing inward until the universe returns to a singular point. Even the notion of repeating creation, starting anew after cosmic dissolution, finds echoes in speculative theories of cyclic universes, where the Big Bang may not have been the first, nor will it be the last. The Quran's description does more than predict cosmic events. It frames them as part of a larger story. The end of the universe is not random but purposeful, tied to accountability and renewal. The folding of the heavens is not merely a scientific phenomenon, but a profound turning point, the moment when all that is hidden becomes revealed, when the unseen and the seen converge. This imagery, revealed in an era when the universe was thought eternal and unchanging, resonates deeply with modern discoveries that confirm its dynamic, finite nature. Reflect on the symmetry between beginning and end. Just as the Quran describes the heavens and the earth as once being joined before being parted, a verse that parallels the Big Bang, it also describes their eventual folding and return. Creation is a cycle, from unity to expansion, from expansion back to unity. Science traces the same arc, albeit through the lens of physics rather than revelation. The convergence of these perspectives is breathtaking, suggesting that the quest to understand our origins and our ultimate fate may lead to the same profound truths. When we contemplate these realities, unseen forces shaping every moment of our lives, and a universe destined to one day fold upon itself, we are confronted with questions far greater than ourselves. What is our place in this vast design? Are we mere accidents of cosmic chance, or intentional participants in a story written across the fabric of space and time? The Quran's answer is clear. The signs are there for those who reflect, both in the seen and the unseen, in the beginning and the end. And as science ventures deeper into the mysteries of quantum fields and cosmic destinies, it finds itself circling back to questions the Quran posed long ago, questions that point beyond equations to meaning itself. Time, we think we understand it because we measure it with clocks and calendars, counting seconds, hours, and years as if they flow in a steady, unchanging stream. But modern physics has shattered this illusion. Time is not fixed. It bends, stretches, and warps depending on speed and gravity. Einstein's theory of relativity revealed that the faster you travel, the slower time passes for you, and the stronger the gravity, the more time dilates. This means two people living in different conditions can experience time differently, their clocks falling out of sync without them ever noticing. This once unimaginable truth was confirmed in experiments with atomic clocks, which recorded measurable differences in time between clocks flown in airplanes and clocks left on Earth. And remarkably, more than 14 centuries ago, the Quran hinted at this very concept in verses that speak of days with measures unlike our own. In Surah Al-Hajj, verse 47, it says, "And indeed, a day with your Lord is like 1,000 years of what you count." Elsewhere, in Surah Al-Ma'arij, verse 4, it describes a day measuring 50,000 years. These verses are not contradictions. They are windows into the relativity of time, that divine scales operate beyond human reckoning, that the flow of time is not uniform across all realms of existence. When we consider what science has uncovered about the universe, these verses take on extraordinary depth. Near a black hole, for example, time moves so differently that an hour for someone at its edge could equal centuries for those far away. The Quran's language mirrors this reality. What feels like a day in one frame of reference could span 1,000 years in another. It challenges the human tendency to assume our perception is absolute, inviting us instead to imagine a cosmos where time itself is fluid, bending to forces we barely comprehend. This perspective changes how we think about destiny, accountability, and even life itself. It reminds us that divine wisdom operates on a scale we cannot measure with our earthly instruments, that patience and justice unfold according to a clock far grander than our own. As the Quran opens our minds to the flexible nature of time, it also calls our attention to another cosmic truth. The universe is balanced with a precision so fine that even the smallest alteration would render life impossible. Modern physics refers to this as the fine-tuning of the cosmos, the uncanny way fundamental constants, like the strength of gravity or the charge of an electron, are set at exact values necessary for life to exist. Change them even slightly, and stars would not form, atoms would not bond, and the universe would collapse into chaos. This phenomenon has left many scientists awestruck. Some call it coincidence, others hint at design. The Quran, however, described this balance long ago. In Surah Ar-Rahman, verse 7, it declares, "And the heaven he raised and imposed the balance. The imagery is subtle yet profound, a raised heaven, suspended in equilibrium, governed by laws that maintain harmony across unimaginable distances." Everywhere we look, this balance is evident. The Earth is tilted at precisely 23.5 degrees, giving rise to seasons that nurture ecosystems. Its distance from the sun is neither too close nor too far, allowing liquid water, the foundation of life, to exist. The ratio of oxygen in the atmosphere, the speed of Earth's rotation, the delicate interplay of gravity and centrifugal force, each parameter is tuned within narrow limits that allow life to flourish. Scientists have called this phenomenon the Goldilocks principle, but the Quran calls it mizan, balance, and presents it not as a random accident, but as a deliberate act. It invites humanity to respect this balance, to live in harmony with it, and warns against transgressing it. For to disrupt the balance of nature is to invite destruction upon ourselves. On a cosmic scale, this balance extends to the very forces that hold the universe together. Gravity, electromagnetism, and the nuclear forces, strong and weak, are all precisely calibrated. If gravity were slightly stronger, the universe would have collapsed back into itself moments after the Big Bang. Slightly weaker, and matter would never have coalesced into stars or galaxies. If the strong nuclear force were minutely weaker, atoms could not hold together. Slightly stronger, and stars would burn out too quickly to sustain life. These constants, fixed since the dawn of creation, form the bedrock of reality, a harmony so exact that physicists struggle to explain it without invoking something beyond pure chance. What makes this even more remarkable is that the Quran does not only highlight this balance, it commands us to reflect on it. The verse continues, "that you not transgress within the balance." It is both observation and moral imperative, a reminder that just as the cosmos is finely tuned, so too must human behavior strive for equilibrium. When we exploit nature without restraint, When we disrupt ecosystems or destabilize climates, we violate this sacred order. The modern crises of deforestation, pollution, and climate change all stem from this imbalance, and in many ways, the Quran's call to honor the balance of creation feels more urgent now than ever. Together, these two concepts, the relativity of time and the precision of balance, form a profound vision of the universe. Time is not what we think it is, and neither is chance. The cosmos is not a meaningless sprawl, but a finely orchestrated system, measured and weighed at every level. And through it all, the Quran invites us to see beyond the surface, to recognize signs woven into reality itself. In the bending of time and the balance of forces, we are reminded that existence is no accident. It is deliberate, purposeful, and filled with meaning for those willing to reflect on its signs. Every single day, without fail, the earth performs a breathtaking dance that few of us truly stop to appreciate. As the planet spins on its axis, night gently melts into day, and day into night, in a cycle so seamless we barely notice its perfection. The Quran draws attention to this phenomenon repeatedly, describing it not as chaotic, but as deliberate, balanced, and full of meaning. In Surah Luqman, verse 29, it asks us to reflect, "Do you not see that Allah causes the night to merge into the day, and causes the day to merge into the night?" This merging, this quiet, continuous blending is far more profound than it first appears. To a person living 14 centuries ago, day and night simply alternated. One ended, and the other began. But modern science reveals a deeper truth. This merging is the result of Earth's rotation, a constant movement that not only gives us sunrise and sunset, but also regulates climate, seasons, and the very rhythm of life. Consider what would happen if Earth's rotation were even slightly different. If the planet spun faster, days would be shorter, winds would rage at unimaginable speeds, and life would struggle to adapt to the chaos. If it spun slower, days and nights would last unbearably long. Scorching heat by day and freezing cold by night would devastate ecosystems. The current speed, roughly 670 kilometers per hour at the equator, is not random. It is precise, balanced, and life-sustaining. The Quran's imagery of merging day into night and night into day beautifully encapsulates this continuous process, a reminder that what seems ordinary is in fact miraculous. There is also something deeply poetic in the way this merging unfolds across the globe. At any given moment, half of Earth is bathed in sunlight while the other half rests in darkness, and along the boundary, the Terminator line, lies a thin band where both exist together in twilight. Astronauts describe this view from space as one of the most striking sights imaginable, a glowing arc of light slowly sweeping across the planet, chasing away night in one place and ushering it in somewhere else. This imagery echoes the Quran's call to see this merging, to recognize it as a sign. It is not just a transition of light, it is a constant reminder of balance, of cycles, of renewal built into the very fabric of creation. From this daily dance of light and shadow, the Quran draws our attention to another wonder of the sky, one that captures the imagination during rare and dramatic moments. In Surah Ar-Rahman, verse 37, it describes a day when the sky itself will split apart and change color. Then when the sky is split and becomes rosy like molten oil. To an ancient listener, this might have sounded purely symbolic, but modern science reveals phenomena that strikingly resemble this description. During certain atmospheric events, particularly at sunrise and sunset, the sky indeed transforms into shades of deep red and pink, hues created by the scattering of sunlight through the thickest layers of atmosphere. This effect, known as Rayleigh scattering, occurs because shorter blue wavelengths are filtered out, leaving the longer red wavelengths to dominate. The result is a sky that glows like molten metal, fluid and surreal. But the verse also points beyond the everyday beauty of sunrises and sunsets to something far more cosmic, the dramatic transformations the heavens will undergo at the end of time. Astrophysics paints a similar picture. In the universe's final chapters, stars will explode as supernovae, galaxies will collide, and skies once serene will blaze with unimaginable energy. The Quran's imagery of the sky splitting evokes these cataclysmic events with eerie resonance. The heavens, once a canopy of calm, will tear apart, revealing forces and realities far beyond human comprehension. It is both a warning and a revelation, a glimpse of creation's climax. Even now, in more subtle ways, we witness hints of this transformation. During intense auroras caused by solar winds colliding with Earth's magnetic field, the sky ripples with waves of red, green, and purple light, a living canvas of molten color dancing above the poles. During volcanic eruptions or wildfires, particles in the atmosphere scatter sunlight in ways that turn sunsets into apocalyptic reds and oranges. These rare events, though temporary, remind us how fragile and dynamic the sky truly is, how easily it can shift from serene blue to fiery crimson. The Quran's verse captures this truth in words that are timeless, words that speak both to the beauty we see daily and to the awe-inspiring events that await the universe's future. What unites these two themes, the merging of day and night, and the sky's transformation into molten hues, is their invitation to reflect on change and continuity. The merging of light and dark is a gentle reminder of life's cycles, the predictable rhythms that sustain us. The splitting of the sky is a dramatic reminder of life's impermanence, the moment when all cycles will cease and creation will face its reckoning. Together, they form a profound narrative, a universe in motion, balanced yet destined for transformation, urging humanity to awaken to its signs before the final unveiling. Across every corner of the natural world, from the tiniest organisms to the grandest celestial phenomena, there exists a profound symmetry, a balance built on the principle of pairing. Male and female, positive and negative, matter and antimatter, even the fundamental building blocks of atoms carry this duality. This is not just a coincidence, it is a foundational law of existence. Long before modern biology or particle physics discovered it, the Quran articulated this universal truth in simple yet sweeping words. In Surah Ad-Dariyat, verse 49, it declares, "And of everything we created pairs, that you may reflect." This statement, revealed in the 7th century, encompasses far more than human relationships or animal reproduction. It speaks to a cosmic pattern, a design principle underpinning all of creation. Think about what science has uncovered since those words were first heard. The discovery of DNA revealed that life itself is coded in paired strands, the double helix winding like a staircase where each step is a matching base pair. Electricity flows through the interplay of positive and negative charges. Magnetism arises from opposing poles. Even the tiniest subatomic particles obey this principle. Electrons have positrons, protons have antiprotons, and quarks come in complementary forms. At the largest scales, pairing governs ecosystems, predator and prey, pollinator and plant, the cycles of growth and decay that sustain life on Earth. Without these pairs, balance would shatter, and life as we know it could not exist. The Quran's wording, "of everything we created pairs," is remarkably expansive. It does not limit this pattern to living creatures, it implies a universal principle. Only in the last century has physics confirmed this idea, uncovering symmetrical relationships at the heart of matter and energy. Matter itself appears to have an opposite antimatter, equal in mass but opposite in charge. When matter and antimatter meet, they annihilate in a burst of energy, a process so fundamental that it shaped the very birth of the universe. Cosmologists still ponder why matter slightly outnumbers antimatter, allowing galaxies, stars, and life to exist at all. The Quran's invitation to reflect on this reality feels almost prophetic, urging humanity to see divine wisdom not just in the beauty of creation, but in the very forces that hold it together. But the verse's significance is not merely scientific, it is deeply philosophical. The principle of pairing teaches us about harmony, about balance between opposites, light and darkness, joy and sorrow, life and death. It reminds us that wholeness often arises from contrast. The Quran's call to reflect on pairs is, in essence, a call to recognize that nothing in existence stands alone. Every aspect of life finds meaning in relation to something else. We inhale and exhale. We rest and labor. We rise and fall. In acknowledging these pairs, we begin to see the threads of purpose woven through the fabric of the universe. From this sweeping principle of pairs, the Quran turns to another recurring theme: the signs embedded throughout creation and the call for humanity to ponder them. Over and over, the text presents natural phenomena, the stars, the rain, the alternation of night and day, not merely as facts, but as invitations to think, to question, to awaken. In Surah Yunus, verse 101, it challenges, "Say, observe what is in the heavens and the earth." This is not passive observation. It is an active engagement, a demand to seek meaning in what surrounds us. The Quran does not fear inquiry. It commands it, urging humans to use their intellect, to connect the seen with the unseen, to find purpose in patterns that others overlook. Modern science, in many ways, answers this call unknowingly. Every telescope aimed at the stars, every microscope peering into the cell, every particle accelerator probing the fabric of matter, these are extensions of that ancient invitation to observe and reflect. The discoveries they yield, the cosmic web of galaxies, the intricacy of cellular machinery, the vast age of the universe, all echo the Quran's insistence that creation is full of signs. For those willing to look, every layer of reality, from the quantum to the cosmic, becomes a revelation. But the Quran's emphasis on reflection goes deeper than scientific curiosity. It is not only about understanding how the universe works, it is about recognizing what these signs point toward. When the text describes the heavens raised without pillars, the mountains as pegs, the alternation of night and day, it follows with a question: will you not reflect? It is a challenge to move beyond observation to meaning, to ask not just how, but why. Why does the universe exhibit such order? Why is it finely tuned for life? Why do we possess the capacity to wonder about it at all? These are not questions physics alone can answer. They are questions of purpose, questions the Quran places at the heart of the human experience. This call to reflection is radical in its universality. It is not limited to scholars or mystics. It is extended to everyone, regardless of status or education. A shepherd gazing at the stars, a farmer marveling at rain, a traveler crossing mountains, all are invited to see beyond the surface and glimpse the deeper reality beneath. This democratization of wonder is perhaps one of the Quran's most profound contributions, the idea that every person, by contemplating creation, can encounter truth. When we connect these two chapters, the creation of pairs and the call to reflect, we see a larger narrative emerge. The universe is not random, it is patterned. Those patterns are not hidden, they are everywhere, waiting for us to notice. And noticing them is not an academic exercise, it is a spiritual awakening. The Quran's verses do not just describe the cosmos, they transform it into a living signpost, pointing us beyond itself to the one who fashioned it. And in that realization lies the ultimate purpose of reflection, not merely to marvel at creation, but to recognize the Creator who placed meaning within it. From the first moment of creation to the final destiny of the cosmos, there runs a thread, a narrative so vast that it encompasses galaxies, oceans, mountains, and the very breath in our lungs. The Quran does not present these realities as disconnected fragments of knowledge. It weaves them into a single tapestry, inviting humanity to stand in awe of a universe that is both incomprehensibly immense and deeply intimate. In Surah Fussilat, verse 53, it offers a promise. We will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. This statement, revealed centuries before telescopes or microscopes, before space probes or quantum theories, continues to unfold with every new discovery, as though the more we learn about the universe, the more we are guided back to that original message. These signs were always there, waiting for us to see. Consider how far humanity has come in its quest to understand existence. We have sent spacecraft beyond our solar system, peered into galaxies billions of light years away, and unraveled the code of life itself. We have traced the origins of the universe back to a single moment of unimaginable density and heat, and we have glimpsed its possible ends: heat, death, collapse, or renewal. Each discovery expands our sense of wonder, yet each also deepens the mystery. For every question we answer, countless more emerge. Why is the universe fine-tuned for life? Why do fundamental constants remain perfectly balanced? Why is there something rather than nothing? These are questions science can describe, but not resolve. The Quran meets us at this frontier, offering a framework in which these signs are not random accidents but deliberate invitations, calling us to reflect, to recognize meaning beyond the mechanics. Throughout its verses, the Quran consistently directs attention both outward and inward to the horizons of space and the depths of the human soul. It speaks of stars swimming in precise orbits, of mountains anchoring the earth, of water as the origin of every living thing, of the pairing woven into all creation. At the same time, it speaks of the heart's restlessness, the conscience that whispers, the yearning for something eternal. Modern science excels at exploring the outer signs, mapping galaxies, decoding genes, measuring gravitational waves, but it struggles with the inner signs, the longing for purpose, the search for meaning that drives human beings to look beyond the material. The Quran bridges these realms, reminding us that the outer and inner are mirrors of one another. The vastness of the cosmos is echoed in the vastness of the human spirit. The order of the stars reflects the order sought in the human heart. This convergence of outer and inner signs is not merely poetic, it is transformative. When we stand under a night sky dense with stars, knowing each one is a sun blazing billions of miles away, we feel both small and significant, small in scale, yet significant in the sense that we are able to comprehend even a fraction of this majesty. The Quran channels this very experience, turning awe into reflection, reflection into gratitude, and gratitude into recognition of the one who set these signs in place. It tells us that creation is not silent, it speaks to those who are willing to listen. The culmination of all these chapters, from the expanding universe to the protective atmosphere, from the depths of the oceans to the cycles of day and night, is a single resounding truth. The universe is not random. It is intentional, precise, and full of meaning. Every discovery, rather than diminishing the divine, magnifies it. The more we understand about cosmic pathways and gravitational forces, the more profound the Quran's verses appear. The more we learn about water's role in life or iron's stellar origin, the more those ancient words resonate with modern astonishment. It is as though the text has been quietly waiting for humanity to advance far enough to appreciate its depth. And so the final invitation is issued not merely to marvel, not merely to observe, but to respond. What will we do with this knowledge? Will we treat the universe as a backdrop for our ambitions, or will we see it as a signpost pointing us towards something greater? The Quran's call is clear: to reflect, to awaken, to recognize that everything from the smallest particle to the grandest galaxy is connected by purpose. The signs are not hidden, they are everywhere, written across the sky and inscribed in our very being. The only question is whether we will open our eyes to see them.